Welcome to my channel, Scary Horror. Hope you're ready, because tonight's story is one that will stick with you long after the lights go out. Make sure you're comfortable. Maybe check behind you one last time. You never know what's lurking in the shadows. First time I saw her, she stood at the very end of the hallway, just a silhouette against the dim light from the window. She was smiling this wide, unnatural smile, like she'd been waiting there just for me. But her eyes never moved. They were fixed, glassy, staring straight ahead. I blinked, thinking my own eyes were playing tricks on me, but she was still there, motionless, smiling. I quickly ducked into my room and slammed the door, my heart pounding against my ribs like a drum. I told myself it was just a nightmare, a waking dream. But the feeling of being watched didn't go away. A few nights later, the power started flickering, on, off, on, off. During one of those brief moments of darkness, I swore I heard a faint shuffle from the hallway. When the lights flickered back on, I peeked through my door's peephole. My blood ran cold. Shh. She was closer. Not just a little closer, but halfway down the hall. Her smile had somehow stretched wider, more grotesque, pulling at the corners of her mouth, and those dead, vacant eyes were still locked forward. But this time, it felt like they were staring at something just over my shoulder, something right behind me. I slammed the door shut again, fumbling with the lock, my hands shaking so badly I could barely turn the key. I spent the rest of the night huddled in my room, trying to convince myself I was losing my mind. The next time it happened, the power flickered again, a storm raging outside. Each time the lights came back, she was another step closer. From the end of the hall to the middle to just a few feet from my door, her smile was a horrifying rictus now, a black slash across her pale face. I refused to look through the peephole again. I jammed a chair under the doorknob and retreated to the farthest corner of my room, pulling the blankets over my head like a child. That's when I heard it, a sound that will haunt me forever. The slow, deliberate scrape of fingernails across the wood of my door. Scrayop. Pause. Scrayop. It wasn't frantic or angry. It was methodical, patient, like she knew she had all the time in the world. I stayed frozen like that for what felt like hours, listening to the scraping, my own breathing loud in my ears. Eventually the scraping stopped. Silence descended, thick and heavy. I held my breath, straining to hear anything, any sign that she was gone. Nothing. Just the rain and the distant rumble of thunder. Slowly, cautiously, I reached for my phone, thinking I could call someone, anyone. But as my fingers brushed against the screen, it lit up on its own. The camera app was open, the front-facing camera activated. My own terrified face stared back at me from the screen, and right beside my bed, reflected in the dark glass, was her. She was right there. Her head was tilted at an impossible angle, her neck looking like it was about to snap. And then, as I watched in pure, unadulterated horror, her frozen eyes swiveled in their sockets and snapped straight into mine through the phone screen. In that instant, every light in the house cut out. Complete, absolute darkness. I was plunged into a void, unable to see, unable to move. A cold puff of air touched my ear, and a whisper, dry and ancient, slithered into my mind. It came from right behind Mitha, exact spot she had been staring at all along. I couldn't make out the words, but the malice in them was undeniable. Then, just as suddenly, the room lit up again. The emergency light in the hallway had flickered on, casting long dancing shadows. She was gone. The chair was still wedged under the doorknob. The door was still locked. I was alone. But on the wall beside my bed, carved deep into the plaster, were fresh scratch marks. They were jagged and rough, and they spelled out my name. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe so you never miss the next scare. We've got plenty more stories waiting for you in the dark. Thanks for watching.